Okay, I think we have the energy for a doubleheader today. Um, the idea of being a good number two and practicing proactive humility is a very important skill. We're going to keep fleshing out how to practically do that. Especially as a young man, it can be very challenging. We all have egos and things like that, and especially the higher you want to climb, the more egos you're going to have to deal with. So, and usually these are people that are making up for some severe internal void that they have. They're trying to fill it with something apart from a relationship with the Lord. So, um, even church people, especially white church people, especially white American church people, and I will die on that hill because you're not going to fuck with me when I'm standing for what's true and what's right. Trying to rob from our children. Huh. So what? You can have a media room? Goofy. They have to. You look at your favorite influencers now. Your Ruslan, your George Janko, your Apologia Studios, Mike Winger, Lecrae. They have to. Now they have to have. Now they have to find biracial people because Jews know not to show their face. Preston Morrison. Yeah, white hubris is something else. It is something else. When they do their partnerships, because neither the Jews nor the whites have an issue with homosexuality, so their backroom dealings always involve some kind of cannibalism or homosexuality, things I have no idea about. My only curse is appearance of an androgyny. Now, speaking of white mentorship, okay, this is the Tom Myers I was speaking about. This gentleman here, he is in the Maine area, and he's done a lot of work. He's a more traditional massage therapist, but he does a lot of work with cadavers. Okay, so he's done the dissections. Remember, I don't know if you guys do this anymore, but in biology, we would do dissection of frogs and maybe the little of fetus, pigs, things. Uh, Basically, you can cut open a small animal and learn a little bit more about the internal mechanics and the internal body parts and stuff like that. But what he does is he takes the dead bodies, the cadavers, and explores the fascia just underneath the skin that encapsulates the muscles. And what his research shows, and it's in the book Anatomy Trains as well, which is where this DVD series came from. It shows that the patterns that we have over the course of our life, including our postural habits, and if we're athletes, or, throwing or sprinting or any activity that we do, those are represented and almost saved in our fascial lines. Okay, so he has made a sort of, through his experience, he's made kind of I would say, he's categorized the different ways that fascia is organized. Now, is that the way God described it? I don't know. But one of the compromises I'm willing to make with white culture is when they try to operate by first principles, when they try to do things from the most holistic perspective possible, I feel like that's respectful enough to the Creator to take it as a subject matter expert or an intellectual authority. And especially if they have years of experience, over time doing that, and they have an intention of best practices, I'm comfortable with that. Okay, so that's my version of compromise in a relationship. So if you have a woman that maybe is a little bit aggressive or boisterous or has kind of an attitude, my mother's kind of like that. Okay, she was, always popping off at the mouth a little bit. But there was always a desire, a deeper spiritual desire to reconcile or apologize or come back to a foundation of love, which is how you keep a marriage together. Okay, so when I interact with women, if they don't have that characteristic, we're not even going to be friends. Okay, if you can't say I'm sorry when you're wrong, we have no business together whatsoever. So young men, that's a good thing to keep your eye out for if that is something you're seriously looking at. If she can't say I'm sorry, and if she can't come back to the table with some act of service that brings the relationship back to neutral, you got to pull that Band-Aid off quickly. Okay, get what you can, and then boom her fast. All right. That's still humility, by the way, because your life, remember we talked about suicide? You feel guilt about suicide because it is murder. Okay, you're murdering something that God created. You don't really own yourself. Okay, so God will forgive murder, but He's not going to be happy about it. Okay, and I won't be happy about it either. So I'm also concerned about the murder of your self-esteem. So humility includes you having self-esteem. So remember that. Okay? We talked about white and Jew partnerships. That's something I'm not going to be Hitler-esque about this. The only reason I'm bringing it up time after time after time is because they've compounded the interest of oppression on the black community and then subsequently the Hispanic and Asian communities in different ways. Okay? So they can't, take control of our government and our real estate and our, media and our culture and music and entertainment, all that stuff. You can't have all of those things and not give us any opportunity to even eat properly or work or live and stuff like that. It's not no. All right, no means no. If you're above Dad, if you're going to continue, if you're going to stick with your stubbornness, I'm saying this to my father, so all the other Indians know, that I'm not afraid of this. If you want to be with them, I'm not defending you anymore. Okay? I'm going to cut your head off myself. The world does not need your cancer anymore. You've done enough damage. You've ruined enough lives. And the good credit, like Aaron Magruder said about black culture, any sympathy we would have had for you is long gone because you got everything you wanted out of the deal. So now you live with your great reward. All right? You and I are done. So any reference I make to you positively will be anecdotally and historical. Okay? Just like Michael Jordan's fraudulent clone is walking around now in NASCAR, you are just a fraudulent clone of what you were before. And anybody who hides behind you is hiding behind a sieve of a shield. So fuck with me if you want to. You'll see. Okay. A good topic I think we can talk about now is something called androgyny. Androgyny, if you look at the fashion designers, you may notice that I'm putting on the hero zip-up pullover. It's got the embroidered hero on here. I like it. There's a little bit nice and large. It's got the hood on it. It makes me feel kind of cool. And so Indians never had a brand outside of like Jordan or Nike that we could kind of feel comfortable resting in as far as like a socially acceptable brand. I remember middle school being extremely difficult because they'd make fun of you for anything that wasn't Abercrombie and Fitch or American Eagle, and whatever these rich white kids would wear. And I was like, first of all, I don't even want to be like you. Okay, I'm white enough, and trust me, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Okay. I hate reliving all this, but kids, I'm doing it for you, for your benefit, because we're in a time where there's so many things tugging at you that are designed to destroy you spiritually. They're trying to destroy you in more ways than one, and I see it, and I have to stand in front of it. Okay, I don't want you to take that hit when you don't have to. Okay, androgyny is what the drag queens have been trying to teach you since you were in kindergarten. Okay, they want you to be both men and woman. That's why the transgender movement is so big and has been growing over the last 10, 15 years. Okay, so transgender is a woman that walks around with a penis, or a man that does something ridiculous and tries to have a vagina. It's surgically. Okay? Now, the reason why I bring this topic up is, number one, fashion's full of this. Makeup and fashion have been influenced heavily by the transgender community for many decades. Okay? And what they've been trying to do, and remember, people, you may not know about World War II, but prior to Hitler's rise, what was happening in Germany was a similar type of transgender movement. And the first progress that Germany made towards a healthy society was the destruction of that movement. Okay? So you see men in dresses, you'll see black men in dresses a lot. Because that's how what the Jews do is they look for the strongest possible representative of a community, and they try to emasculate him publicly. Okay, and what they used to do in plantations is they would tie that strong man up, strip him naked, and then anally penetrate him in front of his wife and children. In a homosexual way, or they would castrate him or do something that would traumatize the children, especially the young boys, so that the young boys would never grow up and be leaders of their community, and they would always be subservient to the plantation owners. And only a Jewish mind would think of that, because they have repeatedly, even in the book of Judges, every chapter is about how they turn away from the Lord and a judge comes and brings them back. And they turn away from the Lord and a judge comes and brings them back. So the Jewish community has been doing this since the beginning of time. Okay? And the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant community is guilty of the fraudulence of claiming to be mentally tough, but succumbing to this Jewish virus at every opportunity if a little check is involved. And because of that dual pressure, the African American community, and Chicago is a great example, turns liberal and gay in order to survive the poverty that is put in that community. And so Chicago has a lot of history of aggressive tactics economically to destroy the black community. Redlining started here, white flight, the gerrymandering, all these words. That is where Godfrey has a lot of historical data, and he can inform you on those types of things. Okay? But what I don't like about the black community is they talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about that, and they keep signing these deals with these Jews to keep that perpetual cycle going. And it's the women leading the charge on that. Okay? So the way the black community does androgyny is the women take on the Willie Lynch mentality of being the man of the house. In the 60s and 70s, what they did was they went into these black homes and they said, if there's a man in the house, we will not give you any government benefits. And so the women said, oh, there's no men here, there's no men here. And then they take the government check so they can buy their whatever. And then with that false confidence, they go on podcasts now. And they say, well, I am the table. What table? You're a black body laying on a Jew altar. You have 3 kids by 5 baby daddies going to church, looking for the next victim to pay your bills. talking about your degrees. Women have single-handedly ruined higher education. Black women listening to Gloria Steinem and Jewish demons, fully aware that they influence Latina women, Asian women, Indian women, Middle Eastern women, infecting our communities just the way you were infected. And what you're going to realize when you get up there is that since you took on the authority and domineering nature of a man, God's going to treat you like that when it's time to be accountable like one. You may be able to call the police whenever it benefits you to put a man in jail, but you're not going to have 911 on Judgment Day. I can promise you that. And you try to turn your sons into the men that left you, the illiterate men you chose to lay down with, because you wanted to feel superior, right? That's the wrong kind of androgyny, children. Now, androgyny is the combination of male and female characteristics. Okay? Let's look at it a different way. Dominant and submissive characteristics. We were talking about being a good number two in a company. Okay? If you want to lead an organization, okay? Like Texas Movement, if you want to lead Hero one day, if you want to lead Texas Movement Media one day, if you want to lead Texas Movement Performance one day, if you want to lead Texas Movement Distribution one day, any of the verticals are a part of that, or if you want the whole thing, can you serve under the current leadership and execute an order without challenge? Okay? Difficult thing to do if you're ambitious. But that is healthy androgyny. Managing personal ambition for strength and leadership, while also understanding how to put your own desires on the back burner in exchange for the name on the front of the jersey. Okay? That's the great thing about playing football, is it will teach you how to operate in a team environment. Okay? Even track, when you're in a relay, you don't want to leave early. Okay? You want to wait until the incoming runner gets to the mark on the track. Then you take off, and then at the appropriate time, you put your hand back, and you keep it there until the incoming runner puts it in. And that incoming runner keeps his hand on the baton until you take it from him. All right? So these kind of collaborative moments under heavy duress, are great active teachers of how to manage the dominant personality and the submissive aspects of personality as well. Okay? So rather than thinking about sexual androgyny, we're going to start talking about spiritual androgyny. So one of the good things about being in the church is that the leader of the church is usually the lead pastor. Okay? And for a long time, I had stewarded under the leadership of some pretty good pastors. Men of God that wanted to serve the Lord genuinely, and that dealt with American denomination structure as a necessity, as a necessary evil, not as the vehicle for obtaining structural power. Okay? That's how Bread of Life Church was started. And those of you that know Ronnie Mathai know that I'm telling the truth. And there's video evidence of this as well. So her murder is not going to be held at my feet. She was a master of combining the healthy parts of dominant leadership and submissive partnership. No one would ever question her leadership ability. She was the chair of a department that she had approved by the Higher Learning Commission, an Associate of Arts program that she developed, and was the reason that many people were able to come back in their professional lives and get a certification of some kind. If we had more time together, I would have done a Pro Talks interview with her and really told her story a little bit better. But obviously the Lord does not need that to happen. So I would suggest that if you want to know a little bit more about me and why I'm so odd in my the ways I express myself, you need to read her dissertation. Okay? The combination that you see of Kerala American culture and African American culture, how I blended those two, and why did I keep doing that? I put it in hero. How I connect track and field to spirituality. That is the spiritual androgyny that I seek to pursue. Okay? I've never had a desire for practicing homosexuality of any kind. Navigating the African American social community, they are so infected with that virus because of historical issues that it's almost an unavoidable disease that you have to be in close proximity with. But trust me, it does not make me comfortable. And what you're seeing with Diddy now is the result of over-reliance on sexual androgyny rather than spiritual androgyny. Okay? The story of Adam and Eve is that Eve is created as a helpmeet from Adam's rib. So Eve is a part of Adam, designed to uplift and support him, not lead him anywhere. As I've told you, I've learned many great truths from female sprinters and high jumpers on technical mastery in sprinting. Okay? Even from fast pitch softball players, even from women's basketball players. Okay? And then, of course, learning how to communicate effectively in an emotionally intelligent way. That came from having a fair amount of platonic and non-platonic interactions with women. And but you can get a lot of this done with platonic involvement. So don't use it as an excuse to be promiscuous. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it was all altruistic. It was not. Okay? I was a little arrogant. I was a little cocky. And I learned my lessons as a result of that. So don't learn any unnecessary lessons if somebody's trying to teach you by experience. Cool? So we'll keep fleshing out spiritual versus sexual androgyny. I want to go over it because I do want Hero to have a certain place in the culture as far as a respectable brand when it comes to appearance and fashion. Because I want you to feel proud when you wear it. But I also don't want you to feel emasculated when you wear it. Okay? So I'll do the study of designers and things like that, and we'll kind of flesh out where we want to exist on the paradigm or on the spectrum. But we always want to keep the main thing the main thing. Okay? We can embrace everybody, we can love everybody, but we do not have to penetrate everybody or be penetrated in those types of things. We don't need to do all that. Okay? You can pronounce the whole word like this without giving up your rectum. Okay? So, let's leave it there for tonight. As always, thank you for joining me, and I hope that something good goes to you as a result of these conversations. And as always, if you ever want to discuss anything, find me. Okay, I'm trying to make myself as available as possible, and as long as the Lord keeps me here, I want to serve you the best way I can. Cool. So support Texas Movement, and Texas Movement will continue to support you. God bless.